Moon Knight may live under the Marvel tent, but it has no trouble moonlighting in the horror realm. From a Lovecraftian John Carpenter gem to a modern religion-themed slow burn, here are 5 horror movies to watch if you like Moon Knight. The old moral lesson goes that there are 2 wolves inside of every person, and whether love or hate triumphs depends on which wolf the person feeds the most. Watching Oscar Isaac flail in the space where 2 wolves dwell within one body recalls a special subgenre of horror films like Secret Window, Identity, and even Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. In these psych-out movies, someone comes to the shocking realization, or not in Norman Bates' case, that they have been moonlighting as heinous criminals and functioning only under the protection of their own stressed-out psyches. He may wear a fancy cape now and then, but when Stephen Grant emerges from a fugue state with bodies at his feet, it's difficult not to think of Brett Simmons' underseen 2018 slasher comedy, You Might Be the Killer.
Nature's our nature.
Starring Fran Kranz, who horror heads might remember as Stoner Marty in The Cabin in the Woods, the movie observes a camp counselor seeking the help of a friend to help him account for his blackouts amid a rising body count on the campgrounds. It turns out that there's plenty of humor to pull from ominous amnesia, and You Might Be the Killer turns the laughs up to 11, with its lampooning of slasher movie tropes. An especially tense sequence in the first episode of Moon Knight has gift shop sales associate Stephen Grant running for his life from a jackal with the speed of a rabid zombie. Not a Romero zombie, but one of those roided out 28 Days Later Zeds that can do cardio better than the living. It's only by letting the Tiger Merc Mark out of his cage and becoming Moon Knight that Grant is able to survive the situation. It's a horror scene in a hero show, where leaning into the void might be the only course to salvation. The same void is present in an underappreciated film by an iconic genre filmmaker, John Carpenter's 1994 Lovecraft referential gem, In the Mouth of Madness. In the film, insurance investigator John Trent comes to a small town in search of a missing horror author named Sutter Kane, and finds the barrier dissolving between fiction and reality. The climactic showdown with ancient, writhing cosmic gods is every bit as unsettling as the jackal from Moon Knight. It's not easy having an uncontrollable destructive side to your psyche. Ask any Wolfman. In Marvel's Moon Knight, Isaac's mild-mannered Stephen Grant is tasked with taking on the damages caused by the unstable parts of himself. He wakes up with a busted jaw and has to figure out where he is and how to get home. He blacks out in a moment of peril and comes to his senses atop a pile of dead would-be assailants. In the tone-setting first episode of the series, this deadly lapse is played for laughs again and again, giving Moon Knight a kinship with an early 80s horror comedy classic, An American Werewolf in London.
You look awful.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
John Landis' take on old wolf lore follows its poor doomed protagonist, David, through a parade of tragicomedy in the wake of a werewolf attack on him and his friend Jack in the Yorkshire moorland. Over the course of the story, a bitten David must reckon with his late-night escapades, which Landis leans into with every ounce of absurdity that comes from such a predicament. One of the funniest scenes of the film has a highly bewildered, amnesiac David awakening buck naked in the wolf's den at the London Zoo, highlighting the same sad clown sentiment behind each of Grant's harrowing mental episodes, which are really Mark Spector's episodes, aren't they? Arthur Harrow is the kind of villain who prefers masochism over mech suits, and so it's fitting that Ethan Hawke, he of perpetually tortured characters, steps into such a role. In the series' initial episode, The Goldfish Problem, captive Moon Knight audiences are introduced to the zealous cult leader by way of a punishing ritual. After dashing a drinking glass to pieces under his walking stick, Harrow pours the jagged shards into his sandals, and wearing them makes his daily journey on foot into town like self-flagellants during Holy Week. The Training Day star explained that despite the harm Harrow is spreading on behalf of ancient Egyptian deity Ammit, his character sees himself as a savior, destined for sainthood. Funny enough, an A24 take on religious horror brought both of these elements into its plot in 2019. An unstable self-appointed rescuer who liked putting sharp objects in their shoes for the vibes. Directed by Rose Glass, Saint Maud sees young, devout nurse Maud assigned to care for a celebrated dying dancer. It gets weird and rapturous from there, in an exciting debut from Glass, which offers one of the decade's most memorable final shots in a horror film. This is one to keep on the lookout for, since the feature-length adaptation of Joe Hill's novel doesn't hit theaters until June 24, 2022. From Universal, The Black Phone is helmed by Doctor Strange director Scott Derrickson, who reunites with screenwriter C. Robert Cargill. The duo previously contributed Sinister to the horror movie canon. This time around, they tackle the tale of Finney Shaw, the latest kidnapping victim of a serial child killer, known locally as the Grabber, played by Ethan Hawke.
Look what you made me do.
Genre fans got to see the film screen at Fantastic Fest in Austin last year, where they were treated to a particularly intimidating Hawke performance as an unhinged mass murderer. Where Arthur Harrow of Moon Knight is modeled after more zen-like madmen, the Grabber claws into a more regressive but equally disturbing menace, displaying a childlike sense of good and bad, and dubbing himself judge and executioner in the process. As a bonus for fans of Nosferatu and Horns, SlashFilm's Eric Vespi hails The Black Phone as the best Joe Hill adaptation yet. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more SlashFilm videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.